Welcome to the Bottle Poppin' Podcast, where Meg and Heather share their love for oils, friendship, and entrepreneurship. Let's get it poppin'.
Hey everyone, this is Meg.
Hi there, this is Heather.
And we are the Bottle Poppin' Podcast. And today we're doing something a little bit different because we have two amazing guests. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I am Donald Fitzgill Jr. I am married to the lovely Megan Fitzgill.
Megan.
Also known as Meg.
Very good. And I am Per Magnus Scold. You can just call me Magnus, but I'm Heather's devoted husband.
Yes, and these are the men behind the Bottle Poppin' Podcast. So we thought it would be fun to introduce our listeners to the men who have really helped us and supported us. And really, this podcast wouldn't be in existence without their help. So do you guys want to explain a little bit of what you have done behind the scenes?
Donald?
Yeah, sure. So I help out wherever I'm needed. I guess the part that a lot of people hear is the intro and the outro. I helped with that. And
you should do that voice right now, actually.
Welcome to the Bottle Poppin' Podcast. And then, the rest. And that's how it goes.
So good.
But yeah, and also have helped with the editing process.
And when he says helped, he really taught all of us how to edit. Like, we knew nothing before Donald taught us this.
And Donald has been available to me many a times upon immediate text of, help, I can't do this.
No, it's actually quite interesting. So now that when I listen to other podcasts, I actually am very critical of those podcasts because I've shown all the tips and tricks. So I'm like, they're not doing that right. Or Donald would have just torn that thing apart, man. So yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but it's amazing how this sounds, and I am really very proud of both of you and what you've been able to do.
Primarily Heather, because she's the one who does the editing.
True. Heather
really
does. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. I am so proud of you, Heather.
Nice. No, I am usually, you probably will have noticed that the actual logo for the podcast, that's something that I worked on. But I feel like, how else have I helped, really, other than kind of doing more of the artsy kind of graphic stuff, I think. And the emotional support. They were just saying, little cheerleader sort of jumping silently in the background going, you can do it, you can do it. And I think that's kind of where I...
Well, and I hope that you are a subscriber and a frequent listener as well.
Yes. No, I do listen to it actually a lot. So.
And subscribe.
And like and comment.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
If there was a bell to click, I would click it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think everyone should click the bell, like, subscribe, and tell friends about this. This is really how the message gets out there. So, yeah, I tell all of my friends. I just don't have many friends is the thing. So, that's
speaking of the message, our big message with Bottle Poppin' Podcast is we like to pop open different bottles of doTERRA oils and educate on them. So I would love to know what your guys' favorite doTERRA product is. Donald?
Well, me, I guess I have a lot of them. I got so many. But first of all, anyone listening out there, guys can do this too. Okay, just so you know, it is actually very manly to use essential oils. It's also very female-y? Womanly. Okay, yeah. What was that? What I had a tough time finding that word. Femanly. That's what I was thinking. I hope that's not offensive. But yes, men can use this too, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. So every day I will use Elevation at some point. Really like the way that it picks me up. Peppermint is one of my go-tos. As well as lavender at some point, but Elevation, peppermint, lavender, they seem to be in my daily mix. And I feel like mix.
Cassia is your most diffused.
It is. There's something about that it just smells, it just feels very, I don't know, Christmassy.
Yeah.
And it does something to my overall mood. There's something about Christmas that just brings up the mood. And Cassia seems to do that very well for me. How about you?
Well, so hold on. So you guys introduced us to doTERRA, obviously, but I remember we were sitting in the living room, and Meg obviously shared information about doTERRA and, had this box of oils that she wanted to tell us about. But you, Donald, you were definitely the big presenter of that night, and I just really felt wowed after listening to you speak on the oils and what they could do. I thought that was really cool.
And that was all off the top of the head. There was no preparation for that. I didn't even know that I knew about all of those oils.
It might have been a little powered by alcohol. I don't remember exactly, but that also could be powered by alcohol.
It was powered by alcohol, but I did not know that I knew about all of those prior to talking about those. But that's how much we use those in our home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I find that I often use for work, especially, sort of when you have like these moments where there's a lot of things going on, it's kind of high stress situations, dealing with clients and all that. I find myself going to using Balance, Breathe, and I sometimes will use peppermint, but that's actually one of my more commonly used ones, I think. But I think actually as far as diffusing stuff, I find a lot of like the tree-based ones, all the firs, they're out there. You mix it in with some citrusy smells like clementine, and that, yeah, like you say, it's kind of almost like a Christmassy thing. Maybe for me, I think having sort of a Scandinavian background, I'm from Sweden, by the way, originally, that smell kind of reminds me of just being outside and having that experience. And, especially now during Christmas, it's, the smell is even more amplified. So that's really fun. I think the other one that I more commonly used, that was one actually Heather specifically gave to me, was the more recent, what's it called? Midnight Forest. Mm-hmm. That one's really nice.
You've kind of used that one as almost a cologne. Yeah,
and it lasts and it'll last for a while. That's the one I feel like you notice when I'm wearing it, which is it's kind of cool. So it obviously has that very distinct fragrance to it.
That, and you were complimented by our pastor when you were wearing In Tune to church one time. Do you remember that?
Oh, was I? It's like, yeah, you smell good, man. It's essential oils. He looked at me kind of funny, but I mean, but then I think he got it. So.
And then were you like, no, essential oils are for men as well.
Bro, look, right.
Exactly. That's right.
The message we're trying to get across. They're for men too. Yeah. So I want to know, because obviously Heather and I got into oils and then introduced them to you guys. So what was, from a male perspective, your first thoughts when we were using oils, brought oils home? Did you ever think you would enjoy them as much as you do?
No, absolutely not. Yeah, I thought this was some just kind of hokey stuff. Okay, here's a nice oil, and we're just gonna go play with some oils or something. I mean, I didn't, that sounds, not cool, but I didn't necessarily know what to think with these until one night I just gave in and decided to use some lavender. And I used too much, but I put some on before bed and slept better than I had in a long, long, long time. And I was immediately hooked. And
what's funny about the story is you said until one night, but that was literally the day I went to an essential oil party. I bought a box of oils and then, they were being shipped to me. So the woman gave me a little vial with 10 drops of oils. And that's what you use, but you took all 10 drops.
I didn't use all 10 drops.
What we had for a week.
So you're saying that you OD'd on lavender.
I didn't use that. No, I don't recall the story exactly that way. I did use too much, but I didn't use the entire bottle. But regardless, it worked. And that's kind of the thing, I think, with oils. There's a lot of skepticism, but just try it. Just try it. And, different oils work differently for different people. But yeah, once trying it, you see that it works. You can't lie to yourself. I mean, it works.
I was very skeptical at first, for sure, and wasn't really sure what we were being roped into. But I think upon usage of it, I think we kind of didn't necessarily start using doTERRA to begin with, but I think we were using sort of more of the store-bought ones at the very beginning. But I found that, we were trying, I think it kind of was the gateway to it all. I think it was more the usage of peppermint in various different forms for that very fresh smell. But then I think we veered towards doTERRA, and I think that is when we started using it more frequently for all the different purposes. And I think it also definitely tied in with us and, with our children. And how we would how it applied to them in order to, calm them, especially when they were younger, or also to, help them when they were, hurting, or, there's like, an ache somewhere and something like that. I think that definitely was part of the drive towards us using it more often up to today, where we use it for pretty much everything. It feels like all different sorts of purposes.
Well, and on that note, because we had started with other brands, I think that once we learned that purity really made a huge difference moving towards doTERRA.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's when we started to expand what kinds of oils we were using within doTERRA. But I think that was the big transition point too.
Yeah, I think we were definitely learning as it is with these things. You start using one, you like it, and then you go on to the next one. You kind of learn as you go along, and that's one of the cool things actually about the website itself, and obviously the nature of the internet is that you can find lots of user information and about how to use this and how to actually kind of apply it safely. So that you're not going to hurt anybody or anything. I think that's key. And I think we definitely went along with that process, and it really served us well. And I kind of became a believer very quickly after that. I think yeah.
Yeah, and I completely agree with the using them and then going to other ones. Once you find out that something works for you, I think that you'll want to actually go and look for other ones. So for me, lavender was the first one, but then I looked into what else could work. And peppermint was the next one that I think that I fell in love with. And I found how peppermint for me woke me up and focused me for things like playing poker, things like that, where I was going to possibly be sitting for 12 hours at a time in a poker tournament. I would find that peppermint, I could, use a roller bottle and put some on my upper lip or my temple and the back or the base of my skull, and it would work amazingly well. And then, I started finding different, like wild orange, I think was another one that I would use during that time. And yeah, it's just amazing. And then you're really looking at peppermint, and we've used it to get rid of ants before, it's a very versatile type of oil, which a lot of these oils are. Once you believe in them, you can find so many different uses for them. And they're, a lot of people, or I don't want to speak for everyone, but for myself, like I found out that I was using these, all along. Some of the best aftershave that I've ever used had tea tree oil in it. And I had no idea until I smelled tea tree oil. And I'm like, well, this is what I've been using, where I had to go to some specialty beauty supply store. And it was clearly this. It was clearly, something. It was an essential oil, and I had no idea. Yeah.
That story just made me think of another thing that you clearly didn't know as a kid had essential oils in it. So, what's it called? Patchouli.
It's patchouli.
Yeah. So, I in high school liked patchouli. As an adult, I don't know that I necessarily love the smell of patchouli, but I had read somewhere about mixing patchouli with wild orange, and I don't know what health issue I had, but I had a health issue where patchouli could help. And so I mixed patchouli with wild orange and then lotion and rubbed it on my feet. And it actually smelled really good, like that combination. And so I went upstairs and was talking to Donald, and I was like, what do you think this smells good, doesn't it? And what did you tell me it smelled like?
It smelled like stinkor. What? And the thing is, and that's the thing, the first thing I thought of was Stinkor. Stinkor was a He-Man, right? What? Yeah.
He was one of the characters.
He was one of the characters.
Wait, like a little play figure? Like an action figure?
He was an action figure, and his name was Stinkor, and he had the head of a skunk, and his power was he would just stink really badly, and people would leave. But the action figure smelled like you could smell his butt, and it would smell. But like when I smelled that, I'm like, that's stinkor. And then I looked it up, and it turns out that stinkor, Mattel or whoever it was that made these He-Man action figures actually infused patchouli oil.
It was that?
Yes, in the plastic of stinkor to give them that smell.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes. And here I'm like, I think I found a new perfume.
I wasn't saying that she's, you
smell like a 20-year-old plastic toy.
So that makes me wonder then, have you guys had any experiences with essential oils that didn't go exactly the way you were hoping they were going to? Mishaps, let's say.
I definitely have.
Yes, definitely. Don't put on...
Anything you're willing to share?
Nothing too egregious, but just word of advice: don't put On Guard on yourself after you've taken a shower. Directly after, because
anywhere on your body, like it's just too much.
It gets hot real quick.
Okay.
With everything opened up.
Yeah, it's something. Well, obviously, it's the combination of the oils that's in On Guard, but like because your pores are open. You just like what's that lotion you put on? It's like icy hot, or is it? I think it is. It's kind of like how it gets really. It gets cold and then it gets hot. So it's a similar thing, but it's you just get the heat. So, so I'm putting this on my back because it was On Guard for sure. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh boy. And then after 10 minutes, oh wow, okay. It's just, toasty back here. And I think it's a similar situation with Deep Blue as well. You have to be a little bit careful.
After the shower.
Yeah, you have to be a little careful with that one too, I think. But
well, and let's make sure everybody knows, wash your hands after you've used Deep Blue. You definitely don't want to be touching anywhere that's sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, it was cassia. Because, you don't know, but, there's sometimes when I'll just grab an oil and it's just going right up under the nose, on the temples. And I just want to get it right up in there and just start hitting different spots on my face. Well, with cassia, I did that.
Undiluted.
Undiluted. But I not only went, on the upper lip and then on the temples and on the base of my skull. I'm pretty sure I hit both palms and then just went right on the cheeks.
You totally did.
And I remember the pain. It was so hot. It was so hot.
What did you think you were grabbing?
I knew I was grabbing that. I didn't know it was going to be like that. I was like, why is this burning so bad?
Were you standing there watching?
Yes. I had seen him do this before. And I'm like, you really shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Some people have to.
You get like the red handprints on your face after putting it
might as well have been.
It's like something out of Home Alone where you zap for the first time. He has this almighty scream.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it felt like. It was horrible. So definitely don't do that.
Don't do that.
Because there's a lot of oils that are, I guess we just say they're hot. Yeah. Is oregano one
Yes,
of those?
that's a hot oil.
Yes, that would be
That's a hot oil. So don't do that. Grapefruits? No.
Grapefruit sun sensitive though, so you wouldn't want to do that and then just go out in the sun because that's when you could get the sunburn from it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember what we did to take the pain away? Because that would be helpful for people as well.
I thought it was just time.
No. Thankfully, there was a little bit more relief.
Coconut oil?
Yeah, we used coconut oil, like copious amounts of coconut oil to basically dilute it after the fact.
Time? No, just sit there and suffer. Sorry, buddy.
Learn your lesson.
To yourself.
Natural consequence there.
Right. It's just karma.
Exactly.
Now that we've shared our stories, I feel like you guys have to share yours now. Let's see what.
Or have you already done that?
Did you already do that?
I don't know if we have or
share
not.
on a weekly basis.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know if we've shared specifically about that, and I don't know if I've had any specific incidences like that. I think the biggest thing is when we were doing the Balance podcast and decided to use the protocol that the book recommended and said 6 drops of balance on the bottoms of the feet, on the temples, on the solar. Lot. Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah. It definitely calmed us down. And halfway through the podcast, Meg says something about, I think everybody can probably hear that we're much calmer than we usually are. But I think it took me a couple hours to really feel like I was back up to speed. It definitely grounded me.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it did.
That's funny. I think the only cautionary tale I can say is be careful with peppermint also, especially around the eyes, because then you'll just be squinting for about 10 minutes straight. And the thing is, I had this weird headache actually just earlier this week that went on for it was like a low grade headache that went on for 3 days. I don't know. It may have been stress related. I have a lot of stuff going on at work, and thankfully that's kind of gone away now. But I did put peppermint on my I forget what you call this part between your
bridge of your nose.
The bridge of your nose, yeah, sort of like that area. And you have to be real careful so that doesn't sort of spread out into your eyes, because then obviously having Zoom calls and you're sort of squinting, kind of going. Everything is fine, really, I promise. No, it's that thankfully didn't happen, but it has happened in the past. So yeah,
I have definitely gotten oils in my eyes too, and it's not pleasant, but it goes away.
And there's coconut oil.
There's coconut.
I don't know if I'd put coconut oil in your eye.
I would go just right on the edges in my mind. Like I would go around.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense. I think I just used eye drops and just tried to
flush it out.
Water. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us today and sharing your voices and feedback.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yes.
And thank you
Anytime.
both for all of your help with this podcast.
Definitely.
It would not be in existence if it wasn't for the two of you. So
Meg and I with our crazy ideas, and you guys are so supportive. So thank you.
yes.
Anytime. No, I think it's I can see the enjoyment that you guys are getting out of this, and I think the benefits that I speak for myself, but also I think Dawn would agree with me on this. I think the benefits that we've all gotten from this experience, not just with this podcast, obviously, but with oils in general, I think it's such an important thing to kind of share with people that there are options out there that beyond the, what you think is available. So it's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to this today and meeting the men behind the Bottle Poppin podcast. And subscribe, leave comments, interact with us. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information, you can follow these Bottle Poppin' ladies at bottlepoppinpodcast.com. Tune in next week to learn about what bottle we're poppin'. Until next time, take care. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This podcast is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease.